I feel like I'm really giving high school teacher vibes today in this outfit. But anyway, I thought I would do a quick video because this is something that I've literally been thinking about again this morning. This is how my brain works. But I think a lot of the kind of self-care, self-love, self-respect thing, a lot of the jargon is around this concept of setting boundaries and knowing your worth. But what I've been reflecting on today is kind of the idea of setting boundaries can be really, really difficult because there are a lot of deep-rooted reasons why. So, for example, for those of us who like to please others, we have learnt that over time, okay? So as a child, you won't have realised, but you have created a behaviour where pleasing others made you feel safe because the people in your life asked that of you. They would manipulate you, not maybe purposefully, but the tactic worked where they created pressure, and what you did with that pressure is you appeased them, and it worked. You felt that sense of safety again. So you've learned this behaviour to people please. That's the only way that you get some kind of relief from that feeling of anxiety that somebody is asking something of you, or somebody is pushing something, they want something from you. You have learned this technique of I give it to them, even if I don't want to, and then that feeling of anxiety goes away because they're placated. What's complicated about that when you're an adult is that also in some strange way is intertwined with your sense of self. So when you work on your self-concept and you start to say, I deserve better, and I really do, and you're starting to integrate it and you say, yeah, I deserve to be treated with respect. I know exactly what I want from a relationship, from a friendship, from a work colleague, from my job. I deserve to be respected, my voice to be heard. I deserve people to give me love and admiration in a relationship. I deserve reciprocal energy, all this kind of stuff. But when we go back to this concept of, well, you need to assert boundaries, you need to be selective about who's in your energy, you need to be very resolute and cut people off and give your energy back. When you go back to the people-pleasing thing, that's quite difficult for you to do because it actually, strangely enough, is quite painful or uncomfortable or tender for you to establish a boundary, because you have only ever people pleased. You don't know how to establish a boundary for yourself. And then all those other deep-rooted things of in the past you people pleased because it gave you a sense of safety, but it also made you feel wanted and cared for. And so you created this sense of self where you feel great about yourself when people feel great about you when you do something for them. So then when you're being told, well, you need to establish boundaries, you need to cut people off, you need to kind of go into that energy of like, if you're not coming correct, get lost. That is very difficult because it's under so many layers of complicated ideas. But at the kind of core at the bottom is that some part of you, even though you're working on this concept of self-love, might question your own worth because you get some sense of worth from giving yourself to others. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but I just think that on the internet and in self-help books they talk about establishing a boundary as a really simple thing, like just cut people off, cut their energy off. But for those of you like myself who are people pleasers, it's a really deep-rooted, complicated thing. Like, it is currently the hardest thing I'm working through because it makes me so uncomfortable to establish a boundary. Because I have spent 20 plus years of my life automatically people pleasing. The amount of times in my life when I've said, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because X is asking me to do it, and I feel a sense of obligation. So learning that you might not be liked by someone because you cut them off, but you need to do it for you, is a very alien concept for some of us. So I just wanted to remind everyone that it is a long process to establish boundaries, and it is an uncomfortable process. but it has to be done. I'm learning, I'm being confronted all the time with the fact that I cannot continue to people please. So I can vouch for people who are in the in-between like me. I'm really trying to establish those boundaries, but they don't feel natural because to some extent I have created my sense of self from helping others. I'm in a job where I help others. In my family, I'm always reaching out and helping others. With friends, I will always reach out and help others. In romantic relationships in the past, that's what I've done. So it feels really almost revolutionary and quite disorientating, because you kind of have to break everything you've known and rebuild this sense that you are not a bitch by saying no, and that your worth is not attached to how much you give to others, and that you deserve respect and you deserve to be able to push for that respect, and if someone can't give you it, to cut them off. These are big and heavy things, so just know that if you're working on these concepts and people say, well, you need to have better boundaries, just know from someone like me, I can completely appreciate that that is a very complex thing to do, and it's not something you're going to be able to do overnight. I've been working on this for the last 4 or 5 months, and we are not there yet. So just have patience, but know that it is a really important thing to do, but it is one of the biggest parts of that self-love, self-growth journey. And it will take a while, but be proud of yourself every time you do make steps towards creating a boundary.